Hi there, welcome to the first ever
Just not a water person. This is honestly the best like work on how to act. So one of their
No.
Hi there, welcome to the first ever Fact Friday. This week we're going to talk.
Greetings, minions and associates. If you are already a minion and you would like to tithe, please hit like. If you would like to become a minion, please hit follow. If you would like to confess, please do so in the comments. And if you would like to evangelize, please share. Today we're going to look at a bunch of ABA trainings and so forth. And I'm going to do a critique on these trainings. Basically observations of where they're screwing wrong. Now, of course, the entire premise of ABA is completely wrong, and it shouldn't be used in the first place. And that's what I want to get to on this, because there is not any part of it that's right.
Talk about autoclitics, which is a secondary verbal operant. A lot of people are confused by what is meant by that definition, verbal behavior about one's verbal behavior. Well, you've got to think of the autoclitic as being controlled by the speaker's perception, at the risk of sounding very mentalistic, that their listener might need more information. So any language that you add to what you're saying that adds clarification, adds disclaimer, adds intention, essentially makes your listener more in tune to what your purpose for speaking is considered an autoclitic. So saying, I see a bird, lets your listener know that the reason you're tacting bird is because you're seeing one. Telling someone you'll be right back because you're going to the restroom lets them know that the reason you're going to be right back is because you've got this other thing. Telling somebody that you need an Advil because you have a headache lets your listener know the reason for that need. An autoclitic is a pretty sophisticated repertoire to have. You might find that people with social disabilities have deficits in autoclitic repertoires because they don't add that extra language that lets their listener feel comfortable, feel in the know, right? So if you're speaking to somebody and they just walk away and they go bye and they leave, you're sort of standing there left wondering, well, was it something I said? But if they say, bye, sorry to rush off, my Uber's here, that gives that listener a little more understanding, feel a little better. So essentially, it requires some perspective taking. It does require a history of contingencies and consequences that are met through providing more information, or maybe punishment through not having provided enough information. So essentially, it is verbal behavior about
It's sad that they're talking about punishments.
Your own verbal behavior for the sake of your listener getting a little bit more information and more understanding about why the heck you're talking. Hope that helps, guys. Hi there, welcome to Fact Friday. This week, I want to talk to you all about point-to-point correspondence versus formal similarity. So after Priya's pop quiz, I realized that almost 50% of you confuse the two concepts, which actually is commensurate with my experience in our workshops. I do find quite often that people confuse these two terms. So the question from Priya's pop quiz was, in verbal behavior, when the controlling antecedent stimulus and the verbal operant share the same sense mode, you have... And the answer was formal similarity. In verbal behavior, the controlling antecedent stimulus is the antecedent that evokes that verbal response, that verbal behavior. For example, for mands, it's the MO. For tacts, it's the nonverbal SD. And then, of course, we have those verbal operants that are controlled by verbal SDs. And these operants share the distinction of having to compare the form of the antecedent to the verbal behavior, as well as looking at the point-to-point correspondence between the antecedent and the verbal response. So let's talk about it a little more. Formal similarity means that antecedent stimulus that controls the behavior is the same form as the actual verbal behavior. So think spoken antecedent, spoken verbal behavior. Written antecedent, written verbal behavior. Signed antecedent, signed verbal behavior. So if you say vocally, hi, how are you? That's the controlling antecedent stimulus, to which I respond vocally, I'm good, thanks, the verbal behavior. We both have used the same form, vocal language. Similarly, we could have both used written word. You could have written that and I could have written back. You could have signed it and I could sign back, as long as we're using the same sense mode, the same form. We have formal similarity. Point-to-point correspondence, on the other hand, is when the content of the antecedent stimulus matches identically to the verbal behavior. So in my first example, that wasn't the case. But if you say, Polly want a cracker, and I say, Polly want a cracker, then we have point-to-point correspondence, because Polly want a cracker is identical to Polly want a cracker. Same beginning, same middle, same end. So even if you write it and I say it, if you sign it and I say it, you sign it, I write it, it doesn't matter. We've still got that point-to-point correspondence. The elementary verbal operants that share the same sense mode, formal similarity, with their controlling stimulus are echoic and sometimes intraverbal, though that is not required. And the elementary verbal operants that have to have point-to-point correspondence are echoic, transcription, and textual. So I hope that helps, guys, and I will definitely see you all next time.
Boy, I tell you what, that one right there, if you didn't have a background in the terminology already, then It would be very, very...
Hi there, welcome to Fact Friday. So today I want to talk about ratio strain versus breaking
very, very
point.
difficult.
These are two terms that I have found to often be mixed up. So let's clarify. Ratio strain has to do with thinning reinforcement schedules. Schedules of reinforcement should absolutely... Hi there, welcome to Fact Friday. Hi there, welcome to Mock Question Monday. Today's question covers 5th edition task list item B1. And today's question is, which of the following is the best example of a behavior? And your options are A, getting a massage, B, giving a massage, C, being mean to someone, and D, receiving an insult. And the answer is B, giving a massage. A lot of people struggle with this area when it comes to defining what is a behavior. So I know we all like to use the dead man test, but sometimes that test doesn't work. The options just don't fall in line with the dead man test. That's not necessarily the case today, but I just wanted to throw out another couple of options as far as how to break these types of questions down. I also like to do something called the mentalism test. And this
Now, what's important to note here is she's never mentioned the patient. Never mentioned the well-being of the patient, not once. She doesn't even care about it. It's not what she's talking about. And the thing is this is common. This is just how it is.
This is where I look for mentalistic terminology. More likely than not, a good rule of thumb is that if it sounds like mentalism, like depression, anxiety, mindfulness, right, then most likely those are not going to be considered measurable and observable behaviors per se. They're more like conditions that are, of course, associated with behaviors, but themselves are not behaviors. And then I also like to do the operational definition test. So does this statement sound like something that can be used to operationalize what someone is doing? So much so that someone could feasibly collect data if this was told to them as a behavior. Anyhow, let's talk about our options. So getting a massage. This is not a behavior because essentially you're not doing anything. Someone else is doing something to you, which frankly sounds awesome right about now. But still, it is not your behavior. It is not the person's behavior that they are just the recipient of someone else's behavior. Versus option B, which is the correct answer. Giving a massage. That is not a behavior I like to engage in. I like the other option, being on the receiving end of that behavior, but it is an actual observable behavior. I can see someone giving a massage. They are actively engaging in that behavior. I can measure them doing something. Being mean to someone. Now this is tough because that is somebody actively engaging in a behavior, but mean is a bit subjective. So giving a massage is just a much better answer because what is being mean? Can we operationalize it? We can, but it isn't in this particular option. And then finally, receiving an insult. So once again, you're on the receiving end of a behavior. Now, certainly making a face when somebody gives you an insult, then yes, that is a behavior. But actually receiving one, that is not the person behaving. It is them receiving someone else's behavior. Now, in all of these instances, we can definitely see the dead man's test. A dead man can get a massage. A dead man cannot give a massage. A dead man can receive an insult, but being mean to someone, no, a dead man cannot do. But again, it is not the strongest answer given that mean is sort of subjective. As far as mentalism, there's not a lot of mentalism here to really pick from, so that's not an option. And the operational definition test, well, giving a massage is just a little bit more operationalized than being mean in our examples. Anyway, I do hope that helps, and I'll see you guys next time. Hi there, welcome to What Is It Wednesday. Today's question covers 5th edition task list item B14. And today's question is, which elementary verbal operand is controlled by a written verbal SD with which it shares point-to-point correspondence? And the answer is textual. So first of all, in looking at this question, you've got to note that you are being asked about the elementary verbal operands, of which there are 6: mand, tact, textual, transcription, intraverbal, and echoic. Then you're going to see that the verbal operant of interest here has a verbal SD that controls it. So this is going to eliminate the tact, which is controlled by a non-verbal SD. It's also going to eliminate the mand, which is controlled by an MO. The next thing to look at here is that the verbal SD is written. So that's going to eliminate echoic and transcription, which are controlled by a vocal or spoken verbal SD. This leaves us with textual and intraverbal, both of which can be controlled by a written verbal SD, but only the textual behavior shares point-to-point correspondence with its controlling stimulus. I hope that helps, and I'll see you guys next time.
She is so darn happy about this.
Hi there. Welcome.
She is way too happy. And the thing is notice that the patient, this is just so callous and cold, because the care for the patient is never mentioned or even addressed at all. And it won't be, because that's not what it's about. It's about making kids do what you say.
Welcome to What Is It Wednesday. Today's question covers 5th edition task list item B12. And the question is, getting up from the couch to get a snack when you are hungry is defined as a or an. And the answer is evocative effect, or also known as the behavior altering effect of an EO. So either one of those would be correct. Now, if we break down this scenario, what we have here is the occurrence of behavior, getting up from the couch. Now, if someone is getting up to get food, what that tells us is that they want food. And that tells us that there is an MO. And more specifically, in this scenario, there is an EO. And that means that in that current right now moment, that person's behavior is changing because of this EO, the hunger. And that's what the behavior altering effect is. With EOs, it's a behavior change that increases, and with AOs, that change is a decrease in that behavior.
I don't know what the hell she's talking about, because all she's doing is using this.
Hi there, welcome to Mock Question Monday. This week's question is, which of the following is not a factor that affects stimulus control? And the answer choices are A, pre-attending skills, B, stimulus salience, C, motivating operations, and D, masking. And the answer is C, motivation. Hi there, welcome to Mock Question Monday.
Well, thank you for coming to my first Zoom. I'm so excited. And
wait, it's recording, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm recording.
Okay.
Yeah, got it. See, recording.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hold on.
Hello, my behavior work.
Okay, she's not going to mention the goodness and well-being of the child. And this flat out it says it all right here. How to gain control. Because ABA is not about teaching skills. It's about gaining control and compliance. That's what it's actually about. To make kids look neurotypical.
Workers, it is I, Anna Turi, and I am back with another video. If you are new here, I am a registered behavior technician in the state of Florida. In today's video, I will be going over some tips I have regarding having control of your session. Control, that's a big word and something that a lot of people struggle with. I talk to a lot of you guys. I talk to people from all over the country. You guys book with me an advising session and I hear you guys and I see that this is a common theme. It's difficult to gain control with your client. You're not the first ones, you're not alone. This happens all the time. Happened to me actually. And it can be pretty discouraging, but I have learned some very valuable lessons in trying to gain control, and I thought that I would share them with you in hopes that they would help you in your own session. So if you are interested, please keep on watching and let's get into it, shall we? Alrighty, so the very first tip that I have for you folks is environmental manipulation. Alright, this is very, very, very important. This is huge, okay, huge. Now, when it comes to your client, you need to think of your client, your specific client. What are the behaviors that you are working with? Does your client tend to elope a lot? Is the environment set up for him to elope? Now, one of the biggest things that I've done personally with me and my client is to get him to not elope as easily is to have our session table in a corner. So he is sitting in a corner seat and he can't just get up and leave and have every direction of the room or of the house to run towards, right? So that would be an example of environmental manipulation. If your client has a lot of property destruction, okay, how can we manipulate the environment so that we can avoid this from happening in the first place?
Well, this is interesting.
Now, let's say that your table is right next to the toy box, okay? Your session table is next to the toy box. And it's easily accessible for your client to go in there and just start throwing all the things whenever he wants. That toy box needs to be removed. If your client engages in property destruction often, then you need to make sure that if there's anything that they can throw around them or around